Hey everyone, today's video is a little bit different. What I'm going to do is I want you to try this practice quiz first, and if or when you get stuck, then watch the video up to that point and try to answer the rest of the questions on your own. So you can also or should also watch this after you finish the practice sheet. That way you know whether you're ready for the quiz or not. Now, since it's a practice quiz, let me go ahead and get started. The function to the right, this graph, has zeros at these points. Those two blue dots I made, those are points 2, 0 and 4, 0. So those are the zeros, 2, 0 and 4, 0. Notice those are questions 1 and 2. And there's a y-intercept at the point, the red point there, 0, 8. So I'm going to write that in the y-intercept because it hits the y-axis. The function has a maximum or minimum, and notice I'm supposed to circle one. So that purple point at the bottom there, that is a minimum, and that is 3, -1. So I'm going to circle the minimum, and I'm going to write the point 3, -1. The domain is going to be all reals, so from negative infinity to positive infinity, because it goes left and right forever, as all parabolas do. And on this one, the range is from -1 and up. So that -1 is going to be the minimum and infinity is the maximum. So from -1 up to infinity. And it's very important that we have a bracket right there on -1 because the function does reach -1. On the left side, this parabola is decreasing. On the right side, it is increasing. And so the interval for the increasing is going to be from this dotted line, because that is where it changes from decreasing to increasing. And that dotted line goes through 3. So from 3 to infinity, it's increasing. And from negative infinity all the way up to 3, it is decreasing. The end behavior is both positive because the parabola is going up at both ends. And the graph has an axis of symmetry on this line right here. The dotted black line I made in the middle, notice it goes through where x is 3. So x equals 3 is the equation for the line. Notice that the lines of symmetry are always x equals because they're always vertical lines, and that is how you write a vertical line. X equals some number. All right. For the next one, I had to fill in the bottom there. This is calculator allowed, so what I would recommend is graph it on your calculator and use that space, that graph there, to sketch your graph from the calculator so it's easier for you to find all these points. Just a quick reminder how to use the calculator. You want to type in y equals and type the equation in there. You're going to click graph, and then you can click trace. And once you have clicked trace, then you can type in numbers. For example, if you type in 0, you'll get -5. Type in -1, you'll get 0. Type in 2 and hit enter, or -2, and you'll get 3. Type in -3, you'll get 4. Type in -4, you'll get 3. And type in -5, you'll get 0. I did all of that through my calculator. And you should plot those points first and then connect the line to make a parabola. That will make a much more accurate parabola than if you try to sketch it first. So now that you've plotted the points, we have the equation. The function has zeros at these 2 points here. So -5, 0 and -1, 0. There's a y-intercept right there. And that is at y equals -5. Be careful that you can write it correctly. 0, -5 is the point. The function has a maximum up there because that's the highest, so we want to circle maximum. And the point is -3, 4. That's the vertex. The domain is going to be all reals from negative infinity to positive infinity. And the range goes from that point from 4 and down, below 4. So we want to write that from negative infinity all the way up to 4 with a bracket. Don't forget the bracket. And don't forget to put negative infinity on the left because we always put the smaller numbers on the left. The function is increasing on this interval here, increasing on the left side and decreasing on the right side. So we want to say, okay, from negative infinity all the way up to -3, that's where we're increasing. And from -3 all the way to positive infinity, that's where we're decreasing. So we write it like this, negative infinity, -3. And for decreasing, it's from -3 all the way up to positive infinity. Then behavior on both of these is negative because they're both pointing down. And the graph has an axis of symmetry on this vertical line I just sketched, and that is going through -3 on the x, so we want to write x equals -3. The other part of this quiz that you will see is a modeling with quadratics part. So this equation here, you can type into your calculator to get an accurate representation, especially if I don't give you a graph. You'll need to do that and fill out a table. You can fill out the table. Notice I'll leave something blank, and I'll be very explicit what I leave blank. I did not label a header here, so I need you to label the headers. And so the x value is the horizontal distance in feet. The y is height in feet. So now that I've got that labeled, I need to find points on my graph, and you can do this if I give you a calculator. Yeah, you can do this on the calculator. So we have 0, 5, 2, 8, 4, 9. And notice I'm picking the points. I already gave you the x values here. You just have to find the y value for each of these x values. So 6, 8 is another point on the graph. Input of 8 gives us an output of 5. And if x is 10, we get a y value of 0. Now that I have all those, I can answer these questions. What height was the ball released? That happened right here. So at 0, 5, the height is 5 feet tall. That's the y value. What is the highest the ball gets? That's the highest y value, since y is height. That is that point up there at the top. So 9 feet is the highest because that's the y value. And the question is, how far has the ball traveled horizontally when we get to the highest point? Well, it's traveled 4 feet to the right when it gets to that highest point, so 4 feet is the answer to that question. And how far from the shooter does the ball hit the ground? It hits the ground right there at 10, 0. So that's 10 feet away from where the shooter is standing. Thank you for watching.